You gotta dare to be different. You hear me? You gotta dare to be different. That's the only way you're gonna be you. And what I mean when I say or use the word different, I mean be you, authentically you. But you gotta dare to be different. You hear me? I was thinking about the Matrix when I got in the when I woke up and I got in the water after deciding that I was gonna tap in and all type of stuff. You know, it's crazy how when we doing certain things, whether it's working, cleaning, cooking, uh, so gardening, you know, so forth and so on, that them downloads be coming through, and sometimes it could be overwhelming, you know, it could be overwhelming, um, at times. But that's when it be happening, you know. Them downloads be coming. They always coming, depending on how you pay attention to them, you know, depending on how you listen to them, depending on how you able to decipher them and disseminate them, dissect them, you know what I'm saying, and allow them to give you insight, you know, knowledge, you know, but they always coming, and we'll be wise to put you know, to pay attention to them. And I ain't say we're gonna always like what we may be being downloaded with, you know, but it's meant to show us something. You hear me? It's meant to instruct us about something, you know, some place, somewhere, someone. You hear me? You know, it be for a reason, you know. And the more that I learn to sit in them, sit with them, you know, and absorb them, it be mind blowing, you know. But I went to thinking about the Matrix. It's a classic because it's always, it's gonna always, it's a movie it's a reference point for so many things, you know. And just like many movies, you know, you could watch it, you could watch them over and over. And I ain't watched it, but it's just things that came to mind. You could watch them over and over, and each time it's gonna show you something different, you know, and yourself, about yourself, and for yourself, you know. But I was thinking about how it started with Neil sleep at the computer, you know, and how they were showing what was going on in Neo reflected through the computer, which really had nothing to do with the computer at all, because Neo was that computer that was waking up in himself. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. But for some reason, I really reflecting on that. They never showed nobody prior to Neo being woke up, you hear me, or going through his awakening. They never showed nobody that Neo knew in his personal life. Message. They never showed nobody that Neo knew in his personal life. So I found myself reflecting, you know, questioning myself about that while I'm in the shower. Like, damn, they never showed nobody that Neo knew in his personal life, you know, prior to his awakening or after it. Then it hit me. It hit me. You know, they ain't have to, because everybody who they showed in the world that Neo went out to represented everybody that he knew in his personal life. You don't listen, you're gonna miss it. I just said something. Everybody that they ain't had to show nobody in relation to Neo's personal life, because everybody in the world, every all them people we seen after Neo had to go into the world by going into the Matrix. to get up out the matrix after realizing and accepting that he was a part of that matrix. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. Represented the people who Neo knew in his personal life. How many of us can relate to that? Because when you start to, it's funny how the problems you have, or the situations you have, or the circumstances you have before you woke up don't feel the same according to the problems, situations, circumstances you have after you wake up. Anybody ever thought about that? Because you see them through a whole different light. You see them through a whole different magnifying glass. I was looking for my magnifying glass. Y'all see me look around. But I guess it ain't on the table. Yeah, you see them through a whole different scope, a whole different view, you know. It don't feel the same. In some cases, it seems more intense, depending on where you at. In some cases, it seems more easier, or or less intense, depending on where you at. Because we all on different levels in our journey, and that's a beautiful thing. Because it gives us an opportunity to learn from one another. You hear me? And that's a beautiful thing. You heard? No matter how ugly it may look sometimes. No matter how hard it may feel at times, it all gives us an opportunity, especially for those of us who are able to capitalize off those opportunities that we get. And we get an opportunity each and every day, We get an opportunity each and every day. It's something going on somewhere right now that give us an opportunity to learn something about ourselves in it, even if we ain't going through it. You hear me? Even if we ain't going through what we might just heard about, or what we might just witness, depending on where you doing your viewing from, and where you doing your listening from. You hear me? But I just came through to say a few things. It's been a couple, so I came through just to say a few things. You know what I'm saying? But I hope everybody's feeling good for no reason at all. Radiating, vibrating, operating, emanating. Being the highest illustration and the highest demonstration of who you are. Be you how you be you. Beyond sharing what I just shared, I just want to say, I hope you understand. I hope you understand that no one has to think what you think in order for you to think it. This all in coinciding with how I began, because as long as you doing what everybody else doing, even though you have problems in doing what everybody else doing, in most cases, don't too many people have a problem with you outside the problems that become normal. But once you stop doing what everybody else doing because you're trying to be better than you been, it's magnified. It's intense, because just like in the Matrix, and this is why they ain't have to show nobody. I had to figure out that they ain't had to show nobody in Neo's personal life, because everybody else out in that world that Neo had to go into to get his initiations represented the people that he knew in his personal life. It was never a problem until something in him was waking him up to do something different. It was never a problem until something in him was waking him up to see something different. It was never a problem. Out of all the everyday problems people have, it was never a problem until something in him was waking him up to be something different. You don't listen, you're gonna miss it. So I hope you understand that no one has to think what you think in order for you to think it. I hope you understand that no one has to be what you see, or no one has to be what you be in order for you to be it. No one has to see what you see in order for you to see it. I hope you understand that no one has to say what you say in order for you to say it. I hope you understand that no one has to do what you do in order for you to do it. I hope you understand that whatever you do, whatever you say, however you see, whoever you be, everybody ain't gonna agree with it. And that's a good thing, because it's in our differences that we find strength. It's in our differences that we find strength. It's important that we understand it's in our differences that will provide us the foundation from which we all can create. Remember, nobody had a problem with Neil till he started waking up, and then when he was, and then everybody was an Asian at that point, an Asian in opposition, for him to see how far he was gonna be able to go with his initiations. Everybody become an Asian once that spiritual eye get activated. You hear me? Everybody become an Asian once we start spinning in a different way than everybody else spinning, or at a faster rotation than what's around us spinning. You see? And we all been asleep at some point in time, to some degree. You hear me? So I ain't gonna sit here and dismiss that part. You hear me? I ain't always been vibrating how I'm vibrating. And I don't know, and anybody that's vibrating on a higher level today, than they used to be, know that too. Our differences is the foundation from which we all can create, and we all here creating. But what are we creating? See, I hope we understand that we are unlimited and only limited by the perimeters and borders that we place upon ourselves. I hope we understand that which we envision has been envisioned by others, has been lived by others at some point, sometime, someplace, somewhere, in their time. We ain't the only ones. Many gonna act like it, but we ain't the only ones. Or the Egyptians, or the Mayans, or the Anunnakis, or different ancient histories, that many of us have got into, wouldn't be so important, And if you ask me, we primitive to what a lot of them people was doing, and how activated a lot of them people was, the Tartarians and so forth and so on. You hear me? I hope we understand that what I'm saying, somebody will hear it and benefit from it by how it shifts their perception itself. Because that's all the paradigm shift is. A paradigm shift is nothing more but a change from one way of thinking to another. So we all should be paradigm shifting, every day, throughout the day, many times throughout the day. You hear me? About something concerning ourselves, more so. You hear me? I hope you understand that if you maintain a strong energetic field, no matter what is happening in the external stimuli things, it will cause shifts in your external reality. If you maintain a strong energetic field, that means you got to be internally aware of what's going on. You got to be in tune with your internal self, your inner self, of what's going on to maintain a strong energetic field, no matter what is happening in the external stimuli outside, as people like to say. And it will cause a shift in your external reality. I hope you understand that telepathy represents the interconnectedness of the all source from one and the one source from all. You ever think about somebody and all of a sudden they calling your phone, or you ever think about somebody and they text your phone, or you ever have been just thinking about somebody and they knocking on your door, or they pull up on you, whatever words we want to use. It's telepathy represent the interconnectedness of the all source from one and the one source from all. You see, so we can hide from ourselves, but we can't hide from source. And we can't hide from those that's tapped into that. You ever had somebody come up to you that you didn't know and tell you something that you needed to hear? You see? Yeah. Everybody has a part to play in the cosmos, and everybody playing a part, regardless of where we at. You hear me? I hope you understand that you have time. We have what we call time. Whether it's illusion or not, if you're on this planet, we have what we call time between events, before consciousness of the new event, where a new time begins. So you could be going through one thing today, and depending on what you did in the time that you have from one event to the next, determine the time that it takes from one event to the next. So I'm going to say it again. We have time between events, before consciousness of the new event, where a new time begins. But how do we create new events? Through new time, through paradigm shifts. And remember, a paradigm shift is nothing more than a change from one way of viewing things to another. You hear me? So I hope you understand that if the purpose is alchemy, don't be afraid to enter into a version of yourself that is presently unrecognizable. To do something, cause to do something you never did, you got to do something you never did. to be something you never been. You see, you got to do something. From one, nothing but a change from one way of thinking to another. To be better than you never been, you got to change something. You got to change the way you think from one way, from the previous way to the new way. So new time can come into play, cause you have time between events, before consciousness of the new event. So when we go from one place of consciousness to another, it's time in between those thoughts, even if it don't appear like it. So to present myself as the person I am today, you know, I had to go through different shifts of consciousness, you know, and through those different shifts of consciousness, created time between those events. So through the process of transmutation, to get to the transformation by way of the inner alchemy, you see, I'm unrecognizable, at least if only energetically, to anything that previously knew me. I'm unrecognizable, you know, if only vibrationally, to anything that previously knew me. I tried to make it a little more clear for those who didn't get it in the back. So I hope you understand that if the purpose is alchemy, don't be afraid to enter into a new version of yourself that is presently unrecognizable to you. Because it's going to be unrecognizable to you first. When you say, I want to change from when you know Not say, but when you know you want to make a change from how you see yourself in this moment to where you want to see yourself, that's unrecognizable to you because it's something that you never did before. It's something that you never saw in yourself before. You see, it's something that you want to be, and you know that it's work that you got to do in order to get to it. So don't be afraid to enter into a version of yourself that may be presently unrecognizable to you, or be worried about others not recognizing you after you step into it. You hear me? I say that to say take nothing serious, but take accountability. Take nothing serious, because we all passing through, we all pass about, you know. Be careful what you take serious, but take accountability while you're here, you hear me? And responsibility in everything while you're here, at least as it applies to you, because we all just passing through, you know. I ain't gonna say much, but I can't say a few things because I've been asked. I'm gonna flip a card and see what it's gonna do, see what I might can add on, you know. Today is the day. Today is the day. Today is the day. It is time to begin the journey. Wow. It's time to begin the journey. You ain't begin the journey, and most of us have, at least who at least y'all who rock with me, been rocking with me. You know, we've been on the journey regardless of where we at. But if you do come by here and you ain't got on your journey, man, get on your journey. You hear me? That's 36. 36 become 9. You know, 3 and 6 become 9. 9 is born. You know, bringing about better things into existence. Bringing about better things into our reality, bringing about better thoughts into our mind. You hear me? Yeah.